My WWE Money in the Bank 2014 pay-per-view review. The papers went there a little while ago. As far as my thoughts on this show, I would say this was an average show from WWE. It wasn't a god-awful show, but for past Money in the Bank, when you compare it to past Money in the Bank pay-per-views, this was a below-average show when you compare it to past Money in the Bank shows. But for just an average, WWE show, it was at least an average show. It was average at best. You had, a couple matches that were pay-per-view worthy, but a lot of stuff on this show wasn't. I mean, the two Money in the Bank matches, I thought, delivered. We've seen better Money in the Bank matches. Both of them, we've seen better. But the main event, Money in the Bank match for the WWE title, that was really good. And the other Money in the Bank that was for the briefcase was really good until the ending. When Kane came out there, it made perfect sense, Kane coming out there, because the whole thing was he's, the stooge for the Authority. And he wants, he comes out there and helps, and he's supposed to help, who the Authority wants to win their matches. So it made perfect booking sense. It just, when Kane came out there, it was pretty much a buzzkill to the match. It was still a good match, but that was the one thing that kind of dragged that match down a bit. And the opener of the pay-per-view with the Usos and the Wyatts, that was a solid opener, even though we've seen them two take on each other a number of times on Raw and SmackDown. They do consistently have very good tag team matches, and for an opener of the pay-per-view, it was a match to get the crowd in the show, and it did that. So those things, I would say were, worthy of the pay-per-view. Then a lot of stuff you threw together at the last minute, or matches no one cared about. A lot of stuff on this show felt like stuff you would just see on Raw and SmackDown, not necessarily something that should be on a special event or a pay-per-view. But let me get into the review. On the pre-show, they did the whole thing with Daniel Bryan, nothing too big. They had Bo Dallas come out there, do his whole Bo leave thing, and Daniel Bryan saying Bo leave, and that was pretty much what he did on the pre-show. At first, I was like, Daniel Bryan doing some type of segment should have been on the pay-per-view, but considering what they did, it was just a typical bullshit segment to kind of just have him out there for the crowd. It was okay just putting that on the pre-show, but then then the actual pre-show started. The first matchup was the Usos versus the Wyatts of Luke Harper and Eric Rowan for the WWE Tag Team Titles. This was a really fun opener. Crowd was really into a lot of good back and forth action. These two teams have very good chemistry. Definitely a good match to start the show. Get the crowd hyped, get the crowd into the show, and that's exactly what they did. And the Usos retain the tag team titles here. Very solid opener. 3.4-star match. Really solid opener, and did what it was supposed to do, get the crowd into the show. Then the next matchup was Naomi versus Paige for the Divas title. This match I wasn't looking forward to a lot, but at the beginning of this match, before Naomi and Paige kind of had that fuck-up spot where they were doing probably, a superplex or something, and they messed that spot up, and then after that, the match got sloppy. But before then, they were actually putting on a pretty good women's match. Then, after that, it just seemed like they didn't try that much, or, that really was the part that kind of messed the match up for both of them, got them off cue a little bit. And, thankfully, Paige did retain the Divas title. 1.5 stars, not that good of a women's match. It was starting, at the beginning of the match, it was starting to be a pretty good women's match, but then it kind of turned sloppy once that one spot happened where it kind of messed the whole match up. Then the next matchup this was something that did not need to be on the pay-per-view. This was Damien Sandow coming out there with his, playing different, historical characters or anyone, and he comes out there dressed up as Paul Revere there in Boston, Massachusetts. So it makes sense him coming out there like that, and he takes on Adam Rose. Not that good of a match at all. I like Adam Rose's gimmick, but Adam Rose is still pretty green in the ring. He definitely needs a little bit more training. I think, he has some potential. Damien Sandow, who would ever thought not that long ago, it's been a little while, but it's, who would have thought, a little while ago, he was actually, being pushed to the main event and actually getting wins over someone like John Cena. Now he's in this, idiotic gimmick where he's just, portraying different characters, and, it's just not working for him. I won't be shocked Damien Sandow is released sometime soon, unless, this is maybe just a test that WWE's trying to do, see how committed he is. Maybe they thought he wasn't committed, and they're kind of like, this is kind of like a hazing routine WWE's doing. We won't know what they're actually doing. We probably never will, unless he's actually fired from the company. Then he'll tell us what was going on. Adam Rose wins the match. 1.5 stars, not that much of a match at all. Then up next was the first of the Money in the Bank matches. This was the Money in the Bank match for the briefcase. The participants in this one were Seth Rollins, RVD, Swagger, Dolph Ziggler, Kofi Kingston, and Dean Ambrose. A lot of good, people within this match. Obviously, a number of them that no one had. A number of people in this match had zero chance of winning. I mean, Kofi Kingston and Jack Swagger probably had the least chance. You probably could throw, RVD and Dolph Ziggler in here, so it was really down to, for the most part, Seth Rollins or Dean Ambrose. That was really who had, the believable factor of actually winning this. You saw some great stuff with Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose in here that's going to be, continuing in the future with them two feuding against each other, which that has potential to be a great feud, and I love to see them two take on each other. RVD did his stuff in here. Kofi obviously did, a couple of his crazy spots he always does in ladder matches. Dolph got showcased pretty well here. Even Swagger did his thing. Everyone did what they needed to do in this match. It was a very fun match. They did one part in here, and this plays into the end of the match, where it looks like Dean Ambrose, something happens to him where he does a DDT. I think he did it to Swagger. It looked like he's saying he's dislocated his shoulders. Then the referees and paramedics basically help him to the back. So obviously we knew it was going to happen here. He's going to play a role, come out at the end with a huge pop, and that's exactly what happened, which was a great moment. You saw Seth Rollins trying to climb up the ladder, and then you heard this huge pop from the crowd. That was Dean Ambrose coming out there trying to getting into the match, and Dean and Seth go at it back and forth. That was awesome. And then towards the end of the match, out of nowhere, Kane's music hits. He comes out there. He costs Dean Ambrose the match, helps Seth Rollins win here. So Seth gets the win here, has the Money in the Bank briefcase, and continues the whole thing with Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, which could be some great stuff. Kane coming out there, like I said at the beginning of the video, was the buzzkill of the match. But even with that, what they did in this match was a fun Money in the Bank match. Probably 3.5 stars. It wasn't a great ladder match, and the ending obviously did play a role in obviously hurting the match a bit. But the Kane spot did make perfect sense. The whole thing was that the Authority going in the show wanted Kane to help Seth Rollins and Randy Orton both win their matches, so they would win the Money in the Bank matches. So booking-wise, it makes perfect sense. So it's not like a head-scratcher where you're like, what the fuck are they doing this for? So at least it made sense booking-wise, but it was a part, a buzzkill of the night when Kane came out there, because the match was going on to be something great, and Kane just took it down a peg. But like I said, still a fun Money in the Bank match, really good match, obviously second-best match of the night other than the main event. Then after this match, probably no one cared about. This was Ryback and Curtis Axel taking on Goldust and Stardust, which this whole Stardust thing, you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. Because I know some people that actually, for some reason, like it. I don't know why. I think it's one of the worst, gimmicks that WWE's done in recent histories. I mean, Cody Rhodes going out there and basically looking like Goldust. It is terrible. If you were just doing this, why couldn't you just have Cody Rhodes and Goldust just team up still? At least when Cody was just Cody instead of Stardust, it was actually a good tag team. It's pretty bad that, with this whole Stardust gimmick, that Ryback and Curtis Axel look like the better team in this match. Typical Raw match, nothing special at all. You have Stardust get the win, roll up Ryback, 1.5 stars. Not that good of a match at all. Like you said, like you're seeing with my review here, a lot of matches that were not that good at all, and definitely a lot of matches that were TV quality, probably even less than TV quality. Some of these matches. The next matchup was Rusev versus Big E. If you've seen them before, you're not going to get anything too special. You get, the one spot that always gets, a pop from the crowd with Big E doing, his spear through the ropes to Rusev. That's really the highlight of this match. And then ends up Rusev making Big E tap out. So obviously Rusev gets the win here. What obviously this feud, unfortunately, is going to be continuing. They'll probably have Rusev and Big E take on each other on SmackDown when they tape it Tuesday. And then that's going to obviously air on 4th of July. And Big E will probably get a win there on SmackDown this week. Not that good of a match, not fun at all. Just another, 1.5 stars, 1 3/4 stars at best. not that good of a match. Then the next matchup was Summer Rae versus Layla, with the special guest referee being Fandango. And this match just showcased how much WWE can give two shits about women's wrestling. I mean, it's not a match that, took women's wrestling back decades or something. It wasn't that bad or anything, but it just showcased how much they don't care about women's wrestling when you actually have Summer Rae and Layla feuding with each other, and they seem to be the highlight of the women's division right now. Not highlight that you actually care, but WWE's highlighting them over actually Paige, who is the Divas champion, which is a bad thing to do. Summer Rae has improved a lot. It wasn't showcased here, but when she's in there with someone else that can perform, if Summer Rae would have been taken on Paige instead of Layla, you probably would have really got a good, fun, entertaining women's match, but you didn't hear. Just a terrible feud with Summer Rae and Layla wins the match. Fandango's still with her, so you didn't get like the swerve where, they would have teased him going back with Summer Rae, so he's still with Layla. 1 star at best. I probably would almost classify it as a dud. Definitely the worst match of the night. And then the next matchup was the main event. This was the Money in the Bank match for the vacant WWE title. The people that were involved, the participants involved in this match was Sheamus, Bray Wyatt, Alberto Del Rio, Cesaro, John Cena, Randy Orton, Roman Reigns, and Kane. Obviously, the crowd, even though it was in John Cena's hometown, John Cena didn't even get a face reaction in his hometown. He pretty much always gets more of a mixed reaction in Boston, even though this crowd wasn't even a mixed reaction. I would say it was more or less, almost everyone against Cena. He had a good portion of the crowd that was on his side, even in his hometown. You would think he would got a better reaction, but he didn't. The crowd was really wanting Roman Reigns to win this match. That was the crowd favorite. That's who everyone wanted to see win. Not necessarily who I wanted to see. I would have loved to see Cesaro win. That's who I wanted. But the one thing I don't want anyone complaining about this show is complaining about the John Cena, the predictable outcome, which was John Cena winning this match. Everyone knew going in this show, and anyone that looked at this, especially when you look at it, that, whoever's going to win this match is going to be champion. After someone vacating the title, they're not going to have whoever wins the Money in the Bank cash in for a while. So basically, the booking here was who is going to take on Brock Lesnar. And the person that makes the best sense of taking on Brock Lesnar is John Cena. If you can't get Daniel Bryan and Brock Lesnar, which I would have loved to see seen at SummerSlam, and with him out, the best alternative is a John Cena and Brock Lesnar, and that's what we are going to get at SummerSlam. But as far as the match, this was a fun main event. Really good match. You actually saw blood involved in this match. Randy Orton gets busted open the hard way with one of the ladders, and he bled profusely in this match. Probably the most I've seen a WWE performer bleed in a long, long time. So, like the people that complain about the PG era that want to see blood, you actually did see blood on a WWE pay-per-view, which is very rare nowadays. So you saw that with Orton, and it did somewhat add to the match. It's like, I'm one of those people that doesn't think blood necessarily needs to be pretty much ever involved. I wouldn't go as far as saying don't think it never should be involved, but for the most part, it doesn't need to be involved unless sometimes it adds to the match, and that's kind of what Orton, being busted open, kind of added to it. It kind of added to a thing with Orton there. John Cena did his stuff in here. Really enjoyed the stuff with Cesaro and Sheamus in this match. They did some good back and forth stuff. Bray Wyatt, he can hit that Sister Abigail out of anywhere. Orton did a lot of, RKO spots like you would expect in a ladder match. Alberto, actually, for a change, I actually didn't mind Alberto. He actually did some pretty good things in here. Just everyone pretty much did what they needed to do. Kane, obviously he didn't do too much, but he did a spot where, he takes everyone out, and they did that spot where he's like the dominant person, where he takes everyone out, and he gets a little momentum there during the match. Obviously, the most of the match, it was Kane trying to help Orton win the title. That was Kane's purpose in this match. That you had Triple H and Stephanie at ringside, cheering on Orton, basically, having Kane, basically, continue to be their lackey and try to have Orton, win the title. And at the end of the match, they played into it where Orton was climbing up the ladder, Kane was holding the ladder. John Cena comes in there out of nowhere, hits the Attitude Adjuster on Kane, then hits it on Randy Orton climbs up the ladder, grabs the belt, so John Cena is now the WWE champion. And I'm just hoping no one's going to be, complaining on the internet about John Cena winning. It made the best sense. I mean, especially when you look at it, who do you want to take on Brock Lesnar? Within this, I mean, other than John Cena, man, dream-wise, I would have liked to see Cesaro and Brock Lesnar, especially since you could have done, whose side is Paul Heyman on, really, with the two clients taking on each other. But you knew we weren't going to get that. You knew we were going to get Cena as champion. I have no problem with it. I'm not someone that hates Cena. And Cena really hasn't had the title in a little bit. So, this title reign with him most likely will probably end at SummerSlam. I would expect, if Brock Lesnar is going to get a title shot at SummerSlam, I would expect him to probably beat John Cena at SummerSlam, but who knows? Maybe Brock Lesnar actually does the job at SummerSlam. We'll have to wait and see what they do there. As far as the main event, 3 and 3/4 stars, maybe even 4 stars. I really enjoyed the main event. But as far as the overall show, since there was so much stuff on this pay-per-view, I really would never want to see again a lot of, piss-poor matches on the undercard. Other than the opener and the 2 Money in the Bank matches, everything else was pretty much atrocious on this show. So even though the main event was really good, the other Money in the Bank was good, even with the whole buzzkill of Kane coming out there, and then the opener was a solid opener, it's still, average, below average show. 6.5, maybe 6.75. Not something I would recommend to go out your way to see, other than, if you want to see the Money in the Bank matches. That's really like the only thing you need to see, because if you've seen, any of the recent Raws, you've pretty much seen what they gave you with the Usos and Wyatt, so you didn't get anything special there. So really the only thing special on this show was the Money in the Bank matches, and they weren't great. I would say the main event, maybe you could say the main event was very good to almost great. The other one was going to be great. Then you kind of had the, ending that kind of hurt it a bit. But as far as the show, I would say definitely don't go out your way to see it. It's not, you're not going to be missing much if you don't check it out. But if you do check it out, check the few, matches out, the opener and the 2 Money in the Bank matches. But that's it for my Money in the Bank 2014 pay-per-view review. All right, peace.